What's going on, guys? This is Anthony. I'm shooting a quick video today because I've been thinking a lot about the character traits required to be an entrepreneur. Are you the type of person who is capable of running their own business? Do you have the actual character? Is your personality aligned with the capacity to actually execute and be self-responsible and self-manage and do all these things? Because it's actually very, very hard to be free, to be a free person, not bound by the constraints and responsibilities of being someone's employee. For some people, the employment structure and having someone holding you accountable and having a timetable where you have to show up at work at certain hours and stuff, that level of structure keeps people in check, keeps people aligned. And what some people who romanticize entrepreneurship find is when they kind of go out there and they start trying to start their own businesses, rather than actually executing on work, they fuck around on their phone all day, or they just don't know how to self-manage. They don't actually execute on all the things required to do, to actually create, to run all of the logistics of an online business, to deal with all the people, to manage your time effectively. It's actually very, very difficult. And I questioned for a long time if I myself had the capacity to run an online business. See, I craved freedom. I detested working for other people. I hated having to answer to people who I didn't really respect on a fundamental level. I worked with people whose character and whose values did not align with my own in jobs, whose companies did not align with my values. And I had to do it anyway because I wanted to, play music, and I wanted to buy a new guitar. And so to play music, I thought, well, okay, long term, I got to buy all this music gear. So I got to do this grunt work, or I got to work at this restaurant or this store, or do whatever. And I would just sell my soul, essentially. I would trade my time, but I'd also trade my values, and I'd put on this corporate persona or this service persona in order for me to smile and show up as this professional character to make my money, in the hopes that it would help me pay for the freedom to be authentic in my non-work life, in my non-professional life. And what I found was that trying to create that dichotomy between this like professional archetype that was superficially nice to everyone, the customer service was like, hi, how are you today? That shit killed me. That fucking drained my goddamn soul. And it got worse and worse the more that I had to work for people who I detested, who I just didn't like. Working for slime balls who ran business in a really sketchy way, or who screwed over the other employees, my coworkers, who I actually really liked, who I resonated more with because they're these young, ambitious people who are just trying to make some money and figure out who they are and figure out how they like. And we're getting screwed over by this 50-something-year-old slime ball running this restaurant, screwing us over in the schedule and everything. So I craved this freedom. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to own my own business. I wanted this for a long time, and I had little stints of it. I transitioned out of personal training, trying to move all my personal training online back in 2014, 2013, and failed miserably at it because I did the thing that I just described earlier. I went online and I did exactly nothing. I wrote a few blog posts, but I had this imagined fantasy of entrepreneurship as I would just show up and I would start creating content, and people would just automatically come to me and they'd start paying me money because they would see the value. And that just didn't happen. I didn't realize how much work and how much self-management and how much actual engagement in building an online business was required of me at the ripe old age of 22, 23. And I failed miserably, and it was a real big blow to my ego. And over the next 10 years, I tried really, really, really hard to figure it out. I would hire coaches. I would take copywriting courses. I would learn about funnels. I would read thousands and thousands of articles and YouTube videos and books and anything that I could get my hands on. I was really, really trying to figure it out. But one of the things that I noticed was that no matter how much information that I actually took in, it boiled down to my ability to execute. So there's this character trait of taking action, being action-oriented, being solution-oriented, being creative, being prolific with the amount of stuff that you're actually putting out, being personable and connecting with people, having the capacity to be empathetic so that you can actually tune in to what are the problems that the people that I want to work with, what are the problems that they're having, and how can I help them? How can I connect with them on that emotional level? I had to have all of these character traits that I didn't necessarily have because I was operating from a place of, again, the easy sort of luxury of having someone else manage my time and manage my duties and my responsibilities. It was very easy to outsource my thinking about how a business should be run by having an employer. And when I had to go on and I had to self-manage, I had to be my own manager, I had to dictate what I'm supposed to do in my 40-hour work week, or, as an entrepreneur, I'm doing like a 60 or an 80-hour work week now. How am I actually managing those 40, 60, 80 hours to be productive and actually produce a result in my business, actually be profitable? So are you the type of person who can actually do this? Now, I had to become that person. I, by nature, am very lazy. I am by nature ADHD, meaning I find it very difficult for me to sustain my attention and my focus without practice, without deliberation, without curating my environment. So one of the things that I had to do was, I knew that I was utterly and completely addicted to my phone, and that rather than working, I would scroll Instagram, or I would be on Facebook, or I'd be checking my notifications instead of creating something new or working on another project. I actually had to get rid of it completely. There's an amazing app called Freedom, which can block websites for set periods of time. So I would create time blocks where I would block out all these distracting websites. I would put myself in a situation where I couldn't go get a snack, or I couldn't go get a coffee. I couldn't, go do my laundry instead of doing work. I set up my environment and put on horse blinders functionally. And I set a rule, and I forget where I heard this rule. Someone else said this. This is not my own thing, but I could either do my work or I could do nothing at all. So I could either I'm sitting at my computer and I could make a video like I am right now, or I could work on a course, or I could message a client, or I could do some video editing for a client, or I could do whatever. I could work or I could do nothing. So if I wasn't working, I would just sit there and wait. And I could think, I could talk to myself, I could whistle, but I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't journal. I couldn't play guitar. I couldn't make a coffee. I couldn't go get a snack. I couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't do any of that shit. I could either work, I could do nothing. And I started at 20 minutes, and I had to cultivate the capacity to focus. This was something that was grueling and mentally excruciating to me. I absolutely detested doing it because it was so against my nature. And one of the things that I had to really contest with was, what is ultimately more important to me? Holding on to these traits of comfort, holding on to these elements of my character and my personality that I am naturally inclined to, or is it the freedom and the sort of the unshackling of my soul from this prison of employment, from this prison of doing this work that I found meaningless, that I found menial, that I found demeaning in a lot of ways, that I found just didn't respect who I was as a person. See, I wanted to respect myself more than I did, and I couldn't do that working in these jobs that I just didn't find respect in. I didn't find purpose or passion or meaning or contribution. I know as a human being that I'm very expressive, I'm very expansive, I'm artistic, I'm compulsively creative. That's why I release albums and make paintings and write blogs and create videos. That's why we do the podcast. It's I have this fundamental urge to create. And even though I'm working 3 jobs, even right now, it's 8 o'clock at night, and the only thing on my mind is I need to get this creative energy out of me right now. And I couldn't fucking do that serving at a restaurant or working at a clothing store or, working these wagey jobs essentially. Right. And so I had to ask myself, what's more important? The comfort of just remaining as I am and not having to deal with the discomfort of trying to change my fundamental character structure, or the freedom that I'm really craving on a soul level. And I obviously chose the freedom on a soul level, even though it's been a 10-year grueling process to get there. What are the actual character traits required to run an online business, to have that level of freedom for yourself? Because a lot of the times people have this sort of erroneous idea of entrepreneurship and the freedom afforded to you by entrepreneurship as all this free time, and it's just a laid back lifestyle and it's nice and easy. Maybe you're on your laptop for a couple of hours and then you just kick back on the beach and it's super chill and it's all right. But the reality is, like I said, I'm doing 80-hour work weeks. I'm up at 5 a.m. on my computer answering emails by 5:30, and doing work until like 6 p.m. at night. I've been at it since 5:30 this morning. It's 8 p.m. right now. I've been at it for most of the day. I took a couple breaks for a workout and some food and, like a nap because I was exhausted. But fuck, man, at the end of the day, it's a lot of work. And what's interesting is, even though it's a ton of work, even though I am like working twice as much as I would have if I was working at a restaurant, it doesn't feel like that to me because I can still set my own schedule to a degree. I can still see a friend in the middle of the day. I can go for a walk. I can do my push-ups in the middle of the day. I can drop down and do like 100 push-ups at the restaurant, right? But I can do that in the middle of the day for myself. I can make myself a steak at noon in between calls, right? And I can do all this stuff. And there's this element of I can curate my own lifestyle within the context of doing this work. The other thing is, the work itself is nurturing me. It is fulfilling a part of my soul, a part of my heart that was never fulfilled doing menial wage work. And that is a really, really big thing. Even the grunty, grindy, logistical, annoying, you have to sit here and do all these like little technical logistic things. Even that stuff, because I'm attached to a greater purpose, a greater vision, because it's my goal, it's my vision, I can get through that stuff way, way easier than I could, when I'm like scrubbing the corners of like a shelf at a restaurant or something, you know what I mean? So there's the purpose that's allowing me to, it's giving me energy rather than taking energy away. And this was the other issue that I found with working a normal job was that, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to create these things. Again, I have this creative impulse, but because this thing was so soul crushing to me, because I felt so demeaned and because I felt so discouraged by, working for people who I, again, didn't respect, I would be drained of energy. Like I did not have the capacity to go work an 8-hour shift at the restaurant and then go play a 3-hour set at the bar until 2 a.m. I just couldn't do it. Like I didn't have the energy. And so I found it's like, shit, I'm not just trading my time for money. I'm trading my energy for money and my passions for money. And I got to a point where I realized it's like, shit, I'm really just living to work now. I'm not working to live. Like I am living to work. And this sucks. Now, working, running 3 businesses, running my marketing agency with multiple clients, being business partners with other people, having this startup that I'm working on with my family, it feels like I'm living to work, but but like I'm living, man. Like I am really, really living. So there's this sort of this character trait of really valuing freedom, right? The value of freedom to do what it is that you want. And when I say what you want, I don't mean lower base level desires like I want to eat ice cream. By the way, I do eat tons of ice cream. I eat, Haagen-Dazs mint chip ice cream is like a staple in my diet. But I'm not saying like lower order. It's like, I want to lay back and jerk off and fuck around on my phone for 3 hours. Like, the lower order desire. It's more like, no, I want to contribute. I want to create. I want to reach people on a fundamental level. I want to change fucking lives. I want to leave a ding on the fucking universe. And when I die, I want the resonance of my contribution, that echo, to be felt for generations after I'm gone. That's what I fucking want. So when I say you have the freedom to do what you want, I mean like higher order desires. I mean the higher order, the passions, the sort of soul-led mission that you feel as a human being to go fucking do something, make the money, live the cool lifestyle, impact the people that you want to impact, like be fucking rich and give all your money away to charity because you're so inspired for global change or whatever it happens to be. There's something calling you to something greater, right? And so when I say you're free to do whatever you want, you really have to connect with what it is that you really want. And some people don't really want the lifestyle of an entrepreneur. They don't actually really want the greatness. They don't want the fame. They don't want the fortune. They don't want the lifestyle associated with it. They're actually very content with very little. And I think that's very noble and it's very respectable. And it's a wonderful thing if you can be content with very little while, living a happy, meaningful life, maybe starting a family. That stuff is all wonderful. Not everyone is insane like I am, but I know that there are a lot of people who are. I think, the millennial and the Gen Z generations, they're really influenced by the reality that anyone can aspire to greatness on the internet. Anyone can create content. Anyone can hone their skills. Like, we have infinite resources at our fingertips on the internet to learn any skill that we want. We've never had that before. Not only that, but we have totally normal people who are putting themselves out there, honing their craft of creativity and gaining massive amounts of attention, social influence, monetary success. Like, it's insane what we can actually do. And some people are deeply inspired by that. I am deeply inspired by that. I've been deeply inspired by that since I was a little kid. And I heard about the concept of, being a rock star. That's why I was pursuing music for so long, was I wanted to be a fucking rock star. And now I have the same sort of feeling of being a rock star because I'm making people rich. I'm connecting with amazing people. I feel like super, super hooked up. And I still get to play music once in a while too, because I have the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want as an entrepreneur. Took me 10 years to get there, but I have the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want. So what are the actual character traits of someone who can actually run an online business? Well, there's a few that I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm putting together the mindset module of a course that I'm putting together for fitness coaches and coaches in general who want to launch an online business and have basically move out of the time for money paradigm. A lot of coaches end up, doing these one-on-one sessions and their income is fundamentally capped because they have to trade their time for money. They have to see people one-on-one. There's only so much time in a week. And so they can't see more clients than they can see. Their income gets capped. So I teach them how to scale their business beyond that using courses, group programs, all other kinds of digital offerings, and how to nurture clients into these higher level offerings so that their income can go from like $4,000 a month to $20,000 a month. That's what I'm teaching people next week, right? And so I'm doing the mindset module of it. And I've been thinking, what are the character traits, the beliefs and the character traits that really help a person? The first one is resilience. And resilience is really important because you're going to fucking fail a lot. You're going to run into a lot of things that you don't realize. You're going to get a lot of people who are mad at you for not doing what you said you were going to do because you tried to do the thing and you messed up a little bit and it wasn't as good as you thought. You're going to have a lot of failure and you're going to have a lot of learning curve and you're going to have a lot of grunty, grindy, annoying, shitty moments trying to make something happen. And I can speak to this very, very succinctly because I've had 50 failed business ideas or 50 ideas that I thought were going to be huge and, made me like a couple $100 at the most, right? Like stuff that just flopped. And that's hard on the ego, especially when you're excited and you have this big dream. You're like, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to go do this thing. And it just flops. That's really hard on a person. So you have to have the resiliency to accept failure, to view it as a lesson, to be impartial and not take things personally, to have integrity and responsibility for the things that you fuck up on. And you're going to fuck up a lot. You have to make it right with other people. I've given a lot of refunds to people who I didn't want to give refunds to, but I also knew it was the best thing for me because it saved me a ton of energy from fighting this person on a refund. I could just get rid of them. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to deal with you anymore. You're really annoying anyway. So I'm just going to give you a refund. Leave me alone and I'm going to keep working on this. But then if you're fucking up and you fail, there's two huge mistakes that you can make when that happens. One is that you can just quit. It's like you fail once and quit forever. Alex Hormozi talks about this. This is like one of his 51 ways to fail as an entrepreneur is fail once and quit forever. That's the first thing. The second one is to ignore it and just refuse to learn and to not take responsibility for it and not actually grow as a person, not grow as a business owner, not grow as an entrepreneur, because it hurts your ego too much to say, yeah, I kind of sucked. That really, I was really shitty here and I shouldn't have been super shitty and I kind of fucked up. So I'm going to not fuck up. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to do better. So those are the two mistakes. So resiliency is the first one. The next one is resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is such an important character trait for entrepreneurship. Half the time that I'm putting business stuff together or video editing and all this stuff, when I first got started, it just felt like I was sticking everything together with duct tape. Really strong duct tape, mind you, but I had to learn so much stuff on the fly. You're going to be halfway through a business project and not know how to run a certain software. You're going to be scouring FAQs. You're going to be on YouTube looking at tutorial videos. But when you first start, you're doing everything yourself. You're doing the the web design, you're doing the graphic design, you're doing the video editing, you're doing fucking everything yourself, right? And you have to be resourceful. You can't just be like, well, I guess I don't know this. Looks like I can't start a business anymore. You can't do that. You have to be resourceful, and you have to rise to the occasion of being able to find solutions on the fly. You have to be able to learn on the fly. You have to be able to rise to the occasion. And that requires the character trait of resourcefulness. I feel like I am one of the most resourceful people on the planet. I taught myself video editing from scratch, graphic design from scratch. I taught myself copywriting from scratch. I taught myself sales from scratch. I had someone who wanted to sign up for coaching with me. I had no idea how to do a payment processor. I usually was doing Canadian e-transfers, which in Canada, the banks are really, really easy to send electronic money transfers. You can just literally send money to an email. Very easy to take payments. In the States, or when I had a client who I think they were in Ireland, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know how to accept payment from them. So I was like, yeah, just give me a second. I'll email you, a link for your payment. And I was like, shit, what do I do? And so I Googled it, and I was like, okay, PayPal account. And I quickly made a PayPal account. And then my bank had to be approved. And I was like, shit. So I looked up all these other payment processors, and I scrambled, but I ended up sending her an invoice for $3,000, and I made my first $3,000 sale ever. But I almost lost that sale because if I hadn't been resourceful to find a payment processor in the moment, I wouldn't have actually closed that deal, right? So you have to be able to, on the fly, say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out right now. Or I'm going to find someone who knows how to do it. Being resourceful doesn't mean that you have to Google everything yourself. It could be like, wait, I know this guy has a cousin that does graphic design. I'm going to call them up real quick and get them to connect me with their cousin. It's finding the ways to get it done no matter what. The trait of resourcefulness. So those are two really huge qualities, is resourcefulness and resiliency, because it's hard and you have to figure out solutions on the fly. Those are two of the qualities that I talk about a little bit in the course that I'm putting on. I just noticed that this video is dragged on for over 20 minutes, but this is something I'm very, very passionate about, is becoming the type of person, having the right habits, having the right beliefs, having the right character traits, having the right mindset, essentially, having the right personality to do this. And your personality, I'm going to wrap up with this. Your personality is not fixed. Who you are as a person is an amalgamation of ideas, an amalgamation of values, and an amalgamation of memories and stories that you tell about yourself. The personality is like who you are, who you think you are, and all the stories are just made up. You can change any of them at any point. It might be difficult. The subconscious is powerful. Sometimes it feels like you're yanking up these gnarly roots of character and personality and memory and these compulsive triggered patterns, but your personality is something that's malleable. You can change over time with experience, with competency, with new beliefs, with proving to yourself that you are actually capable, more capable than you had allowed yourself to believe before. Your personality isn't even real. Who you are isn't even real. It's a fucking story. So just change your story. If you are called to something higher, if you are like me and you hate working for people that you don't respect, you hate working for companies whose values don't align with yours, you hate working for a job that you can't stand, or you even hate working for maybe you're free and you're working on your own, but you hate working with the clients that you're working with because you're just taking them on to get money. You don't necessarily want to work with these people, but they're willing to pay you. So you started working with them. You feel like a prostitute. You feel like you're selling your soul. Then aspire to higher. That's it. Just change your personality to become the type of person who can learn new skills, who can be resourceful, who can be resilient in the face of failure. Do not settle for anything less than what is aligned for your values, and fucking just do it, man. Just do it. I hope this video inspired you. If you guys are interested in learning from me, I'm starting a course on September 24th. It is called the Prosperity Intensive. It is an 8-week course where I go through mindset, mechanics, and every possible logistical nightmare that you will have to go through, all that painful growth that you have to go through. It's an accelerated learning process on how to start an online business, how to set up your social media, how to create good content that speaks directly to your audience in an emotional way, in a way that hits them really, really hard, makes them feel like, holy shit, he's talking about me right now. Maybe you felt like that as I was talking about this and I'm explaining some of my own situation. Maybe you're like, wow, he sounds just like me. I want you to make people feel like that so that you can connect with the people that you're working with. I'll teach you how to create the perfect product for people for exactly what they're looking how to do. I will teach you how to set up funnels, ads, social media accounts. I'll teach you how to set up everything so that you have a huge amount of raving fans. This is the exact same process that I use with my consulting clients, the same process that I've used to take multiple fitness coaches from having to work with 25 clients a week to scaling using fitness courses and webinars to making 10 to 20 grand a month. Like both of the fitness clients that I worked with in the last couple of months, one hit 11 grand in the first 35 days and the other hit 22 grand in the first 45 days. So this is the process that I went through with them. And I just want to teach it to other people because I think there's no reason that anyone shouldn't be making the money that they're making. They shouldn't be helping the people that they're meant to be helping. We just need more entrepreneurs in the world. And if you're like me, you're nuts like me, and you have a dream, I want to help you achieve that dream. So I'm going to put the link in the description here. I think it's prosperityintensive.com. And it starts on the 24th. You get a little bit of an onboarding call with me. Space is limited. I'm going to let 5 more people in. So only 5 people are going to be able to sign up here. And if you're one of those 5 people, well, I look forward to talking to you on your onboarding call. Follow me at The Body Moves on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching this video and for putting up with my crazy creative energy. See you next time.